Reading Fluency, presented by Nicole Hibbert. Well, that was difficult to read, and I'm sure that did not sound appealing either. The type of reading which I hear in my first grade classroom on a daily basis is what you just heard. So that is why I am going to focus on oral reading fluency for my action research plan. As I was thinking about all the ways that we build readers in first grade, one area that I felt that we neglect is with our sight words. So my proposed solution to the problem of low student reading fluency is through sight word drill in an app called MobyMax. What students would do is for 20 minutes at the end of our English language arts block each day, they would have an opportunity to log into their Chromebooks and work on sight words at their level to hopefully build their sight word recognition in oral reading fluency. As a baseline, I would assess how many words students were reading per minute, and the app MobyMax would use a baseline assessment to see where students are at with their sight words. I believe if this is implemented, students will have significant gain in their oral reading fluency from the daily sight word intervention practice. Now, the data that was used to create my action research plan was from multiple sources. In my classroom, I first focused on the oral reading fluency scores to identify this problem. Now, on the slide above, you see the end of the year goal is to read 65 words in a minute, and right now I have my current student levels. Now, being halfway through the year, students should be reading at about 30 to 35 words in a minute. So based off of where we're at, I knew we needed to add an intervention. So I found several studies that helped create my plan. The first was according to Mutzi, Rowe, Lowe, and Platy in 2015, when students used an iPad 3 times a week for 10-minute intervals, there was an improvement in sight word knowledge and oral reading fluency. 5 out of the 6 students in the study were still reading below grade level at the end of the intervention, though. So there were minimal meetings, which is why I would like to increase the time met to every day, and I would like to increase the time of the intervention to 20 minutes in hopes that students would potentially reading closer to grade level. And then according to Vandenbroek, Verschern, and Byens in 2017, academic achievement in first grade often predicted how students performed in later grades. Because of this, I think as a primary teacher, there's a sense of urgency to do all that we can and to be learners ourselves to find the best practices to help students be as successful as possible. After finding this last study, I myself felt a renewed sense of urgency that I needed to find something additional to implement in my classroom to help their reading abilities grow. Now, the role of the different stakeholders in my action plan are as follows. So I have students, family members, and faculty as my stakeholders. The students' participation will include using their Chromebooks, getting online to MobyMax, and doing the sight word intervention for 20 minutes. The families will have the job of doing their best to get students to school on time so they are able to participate. And then my job will be to make sure the intervention is correctly and consistently executed, while other staff members will be available if assistance is needed. Now, my timetable. So originally I allocated 10 minutes for my students to be on MobyMax, but based off of my analysis, I would increase this to 20 minutes because I predict that students would probably take about 3 to 5 minutes to log into their Chromebooks, and that several students will more than likely need buddies for this. So I am going to pair with my low achieving students a buddy. And once that buddy has logged in, their job is going to be to aid their partners in logging in. Now, I'm not going to need to poll those students for assistance with coaching because we have coaching and partnerships on a daily basis, and we discuss this in at least one subject area a day. Now, during the study conducted by Braz, Blust, and Bertelsen in 2016, students received an intervention for the entire 22 weeks of being in school. Students were sequentially introduced to sight words and phrases and started with a baseline of 0 to 9 sight words, and by the end of the study ranged from 71 to 131 sight words. So I anticipate to have significant oral reading fluency growth from my students if I also implement my intervention during the entire 22 weeks, which would be the full academic year. Now, my expected outcomes. I anticipate to see growth in all students who are logging on quickly and who are attending school on a daily basis. And then once they're here during their intervention time, they are focused and working. Now, based on the studies I've analyzed for this research project, most students in the majority of studies showed some type of growth. However, there were always some students who did not get to grade level after receiving the intervention, which is what I also anticipate with several of my low achieving students. Now, benefits. Benefits for the organization and stakeholders are as follows. For the organization, with having students who are high achieving and on level, who are here daily, that's going to increase our test scores, and that's also going to lead to an increase in our school letter grade. Benefits for my stakeholders include the students who would build confidence in their reading abilities, and they would have a new set of knowledge in their tool belt. For families, the benefit would be the satisfaction that they're doing their best to help their child be learners. And then as a faculty, knowing that we are creating a strong foundation in students who at some point we're more than likely all going to interact with in that child's academic career. Now, in conclusion, as an overview, based off of the current needs of my classroom, reading fluency was identified as a problem area. And after analyzing different strategies that could be applied to build, I chose to focus on strengthening my students' sight word knowledge through the app MobyMax for 20 minutes a day for the entire duration of the school year. With a group of stakeholders working together, I am confident I will see growth and be able to create steps of action based off of my research. I am eager to analyze my students' individual growth along the way and to view their final results at the end of the year. And then here I have several references that I use throughout my presentation. Thank you.